Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers, and guess what? It's Movie Monday. Today, Iron Man 3. That's right everybody, it's Monday. That means it's time for a new hashtag Movie Monday. Here on Pop Culture Philosophers, I am Rockin Robbie Billups. This is...
Jelani Bullard.
This is...
Brooks.
And we are here presenting our MCU Rewatch, and now we come to the first movie in Phase 2, Iron Man 3. Directed this time by Shane Black, not Jon Favreau, though Jon Favreau does make an appearance, again, as Happy Hogan. Shane Black he was the writer of the Lethal Weapon movies. He did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Last Boy Scout, which is one of Jelani's favorite movies ever. Shane Black, I was so excited when this cat got picked to succeed Jon Favreau to direct this film. It's the first movie after Avengers, so how does it deal with the Avengers aftermath and all that stuff? Basically put, I love Iron Man 3. I think it's a great film. Now, when I first saw it, the first two times in the first weekend, I thought this movie was the best one that had come out with the MCU yet at that point. I thought it was better than Avengers, better than Captain America, better than the first Iron Man. My feelings have changed a little bit with subsequent viewing. Subsequent viewing. But it's, I don't know. Iron Man 3 is a good movie. I really do like Iron Man 3. There are a lot of people that don't like this movie, and I know why they don't like it, and I think that why they don't like it is the wrong reason not to like it. But we're going to really get into this movie here tonight. First of all, like I said, I love it. Jelani, what are your thoughts today on Iron Man 3? And what were your thoughts back then?
My thoughts back then, well, I worked at a movie theater when it came out. So, it was huge. It was a huge event.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people came. I watched it the night before. So, the first time I saw it, the Thursday night. No, it was the Wednesday.
I was there before.
It was good times.
Actually really
back when you could do it.
I saw it before Robert Downey Jr. did.
I saw it before they even finished making the movie.
What?
That's right.
Anyway,
I got advanced
Go
copy from
ahead.
the
What were you
theater.
Because of that, I loved how it builds on the mythology of what has already happened. Tony is PST. Yeah, PST. What is it?
PTSD.
There you go. I can't remember it right now, but he had PTSD.
College.
It's ruined everything. Yeah. So I like
you
how
both
it's
have
been
college
ruined.
degrees.
Yeah. It's
Anyway.
a true story.
He has PST as well.
Yeah. Whatever I said.
Post-stress trauma.
But it builds on that story. It makes it better. It guides Tony on this path that he's supposed to take. And he's got an actual villain. And he's actually telling this villain what he'll do. And it's got a lot of problems. It had a lot of problems when I first saw it.
Okay.
But I didn't care.
Briefly, what were those problems when you first saw it?
Really?
Briefly, just real quick. What were they?
All right.
Was Mandarin one of them?
Mandarin was a huge one. That's
Okay.
the main one.
Okay.
Are we talking about the Mandarin right
Not
now?
yet, but we'll get to that.
Okay, so we're not talking about that.
What else was a big problem?
The army
The Iron Army at the end?
at the end. That was a little too much for me.
Really?
It was like overkill.
Okay.
It felt like overkill. So I say this now because this was not what I initially thought of that movie. I initially thought of this movie, I thought it was great. It was fantastic. It was a little too long. And I like the kid. I don't care what anyone says. That kid humanizes Tony.
Yes.
So it makes him like a better person. On top of that, he does something cool for this kid.
Yeah, he does.
So, I mean, it's what it appeals to.
I'm going to tell you guys this too. Me and Jelani have known each other quite a while, and for him to say that he loves the kid in a movie is a big deal. This homie,
I hate kids.
he hates
movies.
kids. I love Mummy Returns. He was like, that kid bothered the hell out of me.
That kid ruined the movie.
Every movie that's got a kid in it, he hates it. He hates it. He hates Hook because he thinks they should all be grown up.
They should all be grown up. Yeah, that's me.
So you
like
do
Hook.
like Iron Man 3.
I like Iron Man 3.
You do think it's a solid film.
It's a solid film.
Nice.
It has its problems.
Okay.
Still,
Yes.
they're not bad.
Okay.
So I can live with them.
Nice.
So yeah, that's that.
Okay. Well, we of course know that Iron Man 3 is loosely based on a story created by Warren Ellis, with art by Eddie Granoff, is that the cat's name?
can't remember
It was like Iron Man relaunch in like the mid 2000s, like 2006, 2007, something like that. It was 1 through 6. It was Extremis. That storyline by Warren Ellis is amazing. It has beautiful art by Granov. It's a really, really good comic book, and I urge you to pick it up seriously. We'll throw a link down below if you want to read that book, because that book is amazing. The movie kind of takes a little bit from that. For instance, the Adrian Killian character is from that, but way different than the book. The Maya character is in the book, but way different than she is in the movie. But the whole idea of this idea that they inject this stuff into somebody and they can control their biology, it's actually what Tony uses in the comic book to make his armor kind of like grow out of him and come to him. And they kind of address that in this movie where he's experimenting with the armor and it's coming to him. And that's always a fun scene, especially when it comes to his crotch or right to his face. Those are great moments right there. So Brooks, what did you think initially and today about Iron Man 3?
Well, initially, I thought it was an alright movie. You know, I thought it was better. It wasn't as good as the Avengers, but it was better than Iron Man 2. So I thought, it was alright. The second time I watched it, I liked it. Recently, I watched it, and I liked it a lot better, actually. Yeah, okay, it held up. I found more to enjoy, from the rewatch.
What did you enjoy more this time that you didn't the first time?
I like the kind of the spectacle of it in this one. Like, there's a particular scene, a rescue scene, where he has to rescue all these people falling from the plane.
Oh yeah, I like
that a lot.
That's my favorite scene in the movie.
And the music's just like
it's so awesome seeing him, having to go to all this effort.
Yeah.
And I like how they pulled it off. Because like when I saw it, I'm like, oh man, all those people are dead. Like I'd forgotten. Like how does he do this?
The character of the suit itself.
Yes.
We need to talk about that too.
We will talk about that. We're about to talk about it right now, real quick, actually. But first of all, I do like this movie. I like it. I love the scenes you talked about. I love what you were talking about. I think this movie does a great job of being a follow-up to The Avengers. It really is one of the only MCU films, I think, that really takes what happened in the last movie and makes it a big factor to the character-driven plot of the next movie, and that's Avengers into Iron Man 3. Tony is completely just post-traumatic stress, right? He's just like
shell shock.
He's not the same character that we saw in Iron Man 1 and 2. Yeah. Talking about spectacle. Iron Man 1 and 2 especially is all about spectacle, and a lot of that gets stripped down because for the majority of this movie, Tony is not even in the Iron Man armor. In fact, they go to great lengths in this movie to make the armor feel separate from Tony. They even have the armor moving around by itself, sitting next to him. When he's sitting there in his garage, doing his little, dealing with his little trinkets and all this type stuff, tinkering around, and the armor's up there trying to say hey to Pepper Potts. Yep. And like, was it their anniversary or her birthday or something like that? And the big ass bunny. That thing's so funny to me. But the movie is funny like all the Iron Man movies. It is straight up a funny movie. But what you were talking about how the armor is separate. Iron Man is separate from Tony Stark. And the whole point of this movie is that Tony Stark is Iron Man. Yep. That's what he said at the end of the first movie. That's what he realized in that movie. But he loses it. He thinks of Iron Man as someone different from him because he's still this bewildered dude who's got daddy issues. Mm-hmm. He's got inferiority complexes. He's got narcissism he's dealing with. And all that gets stripped away when he knows that there's a world of aliens, Hulks, gods. Like, it blows his mind apart, and I love that. Let's talk real quick. Robert Downey Jr.'s performance in this movie.
He's amazing. He's still amazing. He's the best cast next to actual Captain America as far as casting of who it's supposed to be.
I can dig that.
So he's a greater character. Yeah. And he grows. He does a lot more growing than he did 2, because he forgot everything he did 2. But 3 is a lot better, and it builds on his character. And they should make more Iron Man movies, but people don't like them because of what happened later.
Well, I think that
he might be done after this anyway. We don't know.
Yeah, we will have to see what happens in Infinity War. Brooks, what do you think about RDJ in this film? His performance.
I think it's his best one yet as Iron Man, really.
Including all the Avengers films?
Yeah.
Ooh, bold statement. Explain.
He gets more, he gets more time.
Yes.
and he gets more focus. And
Tony is definitely more the focus.
He feels much more invested in this performance than he did in the first two. The first two he seemed kind of like he was flying by the seat of his pants.
Yeah.
But it's like he knows what he's doing now.
Yeah.
He pretty much has what his character is, and he just sticks to it.
It picks up the thread. Tony knows that there's all this stuff out there now.
Yeah.
It's not just terrorists. It's not just bad corporate, espionage and crazy eccentric millionaires that he's dealing with anymore. He's dealing with real stuff. Even the terrorist threat, which he kind of deals with in the beginning of the second movie, in this film with the entrance of the Mandarin, we'll get to that really later, but the Mandarin, when he first shows up in that movie, it is serious.
Yeah.
It's like big deal type stuff.
It's terrorism.
It feels real.
Scary.
It feels real and scary, right? And Tony's dealing with that, his arrogance. This is my address. You come to me, right? Oh my goodness, that's absolutely crazy. But it really does deal with Tony's response to what happens in the Avengers. What do you think about this film as a follow-up to the Avengers and the character of Tony Stark?
I think it's good that they acknowledge he's having problems after this thing, because out of all the Avengers, he's the one who actually saw the most of what they were facing.
Yeah.
Because the rest of them only saw the ones that got through the portal. Tony saw like the big mothership beyond the portal, so he knows what's out there, and he's pretty powerful, but compared to something like that, he probably seems he's like, yeah, that's Iron Man's not going to be enough to stop all this.
Yeah.
Or even the Avengers going to be enough to stop all
So he goes crazy and just starts he makes 200 Iron Man armors, right? What do you think about this movie as a follow-up to Avengers thematically with Tony Stark's, with his arc as a character?
Well, he's a lot better, as we said before. He's prepared, or preparing for the worst. And he's, like you said before, Brooks, man, you nailed it on the head. He basically says...
I think he meant hit the nail on the head.
The head on the nail.
You went to college?
Yeah, I tried.
Let's not be like that, Brooks. Anyway.
But, yeah.
Brooks has a liberal arts degree. I'm just going to say that,
it's
right?
An art degree, and it's a bachelor's.
And it got you this gig.
Yeah.
That was the thing. We were like, whoa.
It's a prerequisite.
Brooks has an art degree? Okay, we'll do it. Anyway.
All right, anyhow.
As a follow-up.
Wow.
What a segue.
We're keeping all this in. We
kind of do one take, don't we?
Yeah, it's good times. But Tony Stark is an excellent character for what he's doing in this film. And his relationships are better. He is more attuned to what he wants to do with saving the world.
Yeah.
He wants to save the world in this. And you can tell that it's more than what he was thinking of. And like he said in the
He thought he saved the world.
He thought it was over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he can stop whatever he needs to stop. So telling the Mandarin his address, really smart move, Tony.
Yeah.
Oh, but this is another plot hole that I see. Why didn't he use that armor? When the house was being attacked? Just do the protocol. Or do a suit.
All the armor coming out?
Yeah.
I don't think he was... In that scene, he was kind of dealing with a lot. Like going all at once. And I love that scene when the armor goes on the Pepper. And he throws it on the Pepper. And then he gets it back. And that's a really intense scene when the Mandarin's army comes and destroys his house and all that. So that's really cool. So let's go ahead and get into it. The Mandarin.
We've been talking about it.
When I first saw this movie, all the trailers leading up to it, Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin, you're like, this is going to be awesome, it's going to be great.
It should be awesome.
And it was. And then they revealed that the Mandarin ain't nothing, it's just some British dude, he's an actor, and he's got substance abuse problems. And I thought that was so funny and just so out of craziness, right? And then all this backlash from people came out. Oh, they ruined the Mandarin. And I was like, well, what's your favorite Mandarin story? Nobody had an answer.
I still don't.
Name a comic book that you read
was from
where the Mandarin was
show
in.
for me.
Well, I don't know. I don't know at all. Most people don't even remember that cartoon. Of course, we do here at PCP. We love that cartoon. Especially season 2. But the whole I am Iron Man. And the action figure had the glowy hands and Anyway, we know who the Mandarin is, but most people, I feel, didn't know who the Mandarin was, so who actually cares? I thought the Mandarin thing was a great bait and switch. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was really funny. That's what I thought. Jelani, what do you think? And what do you think today?
I don't. I disagree.
Why's that?
Wow. That killed the movie for me.
That kills the movie for you.
That kills the movie for me. It's Ben Kingsley, and Ben Kingsley could have been a solid Marvel villain that they could keep using.
He does seem like a waster, kind of like a gotcha moment, doesn't he?
And it's a terrible gotcha moment. You're like, surprise, it's just this guy. Even though he shot a guy. Okay, tell me this. So
did he actually shoot that
Trevor,
guy?
what was his name?
Trevor, yeah, something like that, yeah.
Doesn't matter. Who cares? Fuck Mandarin. Because of this, they're like, he kills a guy on live television in front of like millions of people.
Or did he?
Yeah,
he doesn't.
The gun always had blanks in him.
Yeah.
It was ambiguous.
I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated that whole thing. On top of that, it cheapens the Mandarin. It cheapens the Mandarin because Ben Kingsley, like I said, the weakness in Marvel movies are their villains. It is. It's their major weakness.
Yeah, that's something we've come across here in the last few weeks.
Yeah, and you start with Iron Man. I'm going all the way back to the original Iron Man that we talked about weeks ago. Iron Man was setting up the reigns of the Mandarin. Did it not?
Yeah. Absolutely.
It set it up. I couldn't wait to see the Mandarin. Like, you're going to set it up. And I'm expecting it in Iron Man 2. So I go to Iron Man 2, not a mention. Nothing. No even dropping hints that there's going to be a Mandarin. Third movie, full-blown Mandarin, full of this guy. And you finally get the Mandarin. And he's so... Never mind. Is it because it's Asian? Is it because it's an Asian film?
They had problems with the Mandarin because the Mandarin in itself is kind of a racist stereotype. That whole yellow fever, the Fu Manchu.
But who cares?
I get that. And I thought that they...
do an Asian guy or do Ben Kingsley.
I thought that they took care of that by making him like like...
They made him a terrorist.
He was a terrorist from a Middle Eastern, maybe an
so
Asian
it's kind of racist. And on top of that, it's Ben Kingsley.
But it also didn't... It was very ambiguous with where he was from and his nationality.
But yeah. That was my problem.
I'll agree. It was a little bit of a little bit of a disappointment because I was wanting to see full on Mandarin, like doing all that stuff. But I did think that it was a clever twist on it, and the movie is mostly based on extremists and not the Mandarin. And the Mandarin isn't even a villain that's very sorely. He's not used very well in the comics, to be honest with you. So can we fault the cinematic universe?
Yes.
For
messing it up. What do you think? What do you think, Brooks, about the Mandarin in the film?
Well, I didn't mind it because, I wasn't familiar or terribly familiar with the Mandarin character, and I like that the Marvel movies are, taking chances with their villains.
Yeah, they don't want it to be
something
obvious.
interesting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it kind of, like, after you see it the first time when you already know what's going to happen, it kind of takes away any menace he would have early on in the movie.
Yeah.
But...
and when you rewatch it, it feels, but it's still, the menace is still there because the menace is actually Killian, right? And so, like, the menace is still there, and the whole point is at the end, he even goes, "You want your Mandarin? I am the Mandarin.
No,
I created this whole thing," and I love I love the theme there of.
You could have just made Killian,
but I love the theme
and
there.
put him in AIM and make AIM a thing in Marvel. You have the Hydra in Marvel.
At least they weren't wearing beehive suits.
Yeah,
but
true.
I like the theme of the idea that this is a corporation, this is a rich dude, that has created this threat. And it shows how we can be manipulated by these created threats.
True.
Right?
Yeah. Well, there's another thing I like, concerning the actual real villain, is that early on in the movie, you see, in the flashback, he comes up to Tony and he's talking about it and, he's wanting to share ideas with him and everything, and Tony, basically pranks him and makes him stand up on a cold rooftop alone.
Oh, yeah.
And you feel really sorry for the guy. You're like, man, Tony's a real dick.
Yeah, I think the structure of the story is really great, especially with that opening where they introduce all those concepts. They have Maya in there. She's developing her thing. I love Jon Favreau in that scene as Happy Hogan. I love that it takes place in 2000. And 2000 seems so retro now.
It does.
Are we getting old? 2000 seems retro now. When they started playing I'm Blue by Eiffel 65, I was like, wow, we're that generation now. But I love that bit, especially when the plant blows up and Jon Favreau just jumps on Tony Stark. He's like, you good, don't move. He's like, yay, you did your job, congratulations, you're okay. But absolutely, I get that. I think that's a really good point.
It's a good film.
Don Cheadle's in this movie, but not as War Machine. He's the Iron Patriot in this movie. Iron Patriot in the comic books, of course, was Norman Osborn from the Dark Avengers, Dark Reign story. Yeah. Not Rhodey, but Rhodey became Iron Patriot a little bit later for a short time by a book by Alice Cott, which is actually pretty decent for like 6 issues during this time. Anyway, what do you think about Iron Patriot Cheadle in this movie, Jelani?
He's kind of forgettable.
Forgettable, wow.
Yeah.
I think he has more in this movie to do than he did in the last one.
He did, and he's kind of forgettable.
Man.
He's just okay.
He saved the president, man.
Yeah, I know, man. And he used the suit, so well.
Okay.
It's just, I'm not into it, man.
Are you not in War Machine?
You know Terrence Howard is...
That's your preferred Iron Patriot.
Yeah,
but it led to the gag with the whole, like, when he keeps asking, he's like, and the kid's like, Iron Patriot? That's cool. He's like, no, it's not. War Machine's way cooler. Like, Tony's bothered.
Yeah. And it's all right. I mean, I like their relationship.
I agree with Tony. I think War Machine was cooler.
War Machine is cooler. We all know this.
He's got a gigantic machine gun.
But I think it led to a better chemistry between Tony and Rhodey in this movie than it did in part 2.
It was.
I feel like Cheadle and Downey really started, like...
He's still forgettable.
They started filling each other out better in this movie. I don't know. What do you think about Iron Patriot in this movie? You like I think the armor looks great, obviously.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just Iron Man armor in red, white, and blue.
Yes.
I mean, there's nothing to set apart like the War Machine. You know, the War Machine has all the add-ons, the big weapons, the heavy artillery.
Truth. Okay. What do you think about the new Iron Man armor in this movie? And I'm not talking about all the crazy ones. We'll get to that in just a second. But the new Iron Man armor, which is all gold mostly, it's the one that comes... Mark, it's like 40-something, I think.
Yeah.
Seriously, but the one that like flies up on him, and that's a great scene in the beginning, and leads to other things throughout the movie. The majority of this movie, he's not Iron Man at all, and I think that's a bold move. I love the moment when he has to like raid that place, and he goes to the hardware store and buys all that stuff. Just use his brain again. Yeah. He has to remember Tony Stark is Iron Man. It's not the suit. Exactly, and that's how it works. What did you think about the suit though in this movie?
It's its own character. It's its own person.
Yeah.
It does well. It's controlled by Tony. But it still feels like even when he saves, or the suit itself saves all those people from falling, and then at the same time when it's trying to fly away, it gets hit by a truck.
Yes.
Like you think that's like
it's almost like the character
Tony.
of the
you think it's Tony in the suit, but it's not.
Yeah,
and it's awesome. I love that the fact that even though it gets hit by this truck. And he's still trying to call for it. Yeah. Like, he's calling for the suit, and it takes a while to get here. And that little stuff. And I love those little scenes in the movie. I thought that's what Extremis was going to be. I thought he was actually going to take that stuff in and actually do what he did when Warren Ellis wrote it. Yeah. And I thought that was going to happen. So, I was expecting a little more from that part. But the suit itself works really well. He throws it on the pepper. Yeah. And it just works so well. I want a suit like that. Yeah, I like that too.
Do you like the look of mostly gold over the... And the idea is it's a prototype. It's a prototype.
I'm not against that suit at all.
I think it looked really cool. I like that suit a lot.
I think my favorite suit, if we're going to do that, is the first, like the silver one. The first silver prototype one he had.
In the desert?
In the first Iron Man.
Okay, yeah, Mach 1?
The Mach 1.
The Mach 1 is your favorite Iron Man.
That's my Iron Man suit.
We will talk about that. But
he still does so much in it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
What do you think about the suit in this movie? I love it. I love the gold over the red. It's a prototype. I love the armor coming into it in pieces. The character that's made out of it. Mm-hmm. It's almost like that robot in the first movie. Yeah, with the fire extinguisher and all that. It's almost like kind of like that. What do you think about the suit in this movie? How it looks? The suit is the character, whatever.
It's an Iron Man suit.
Okay.
It's just, it's a
new one.
It's a new one.
It's a little updated, but really, I mean, how much further can you go with it? It doesn't. none of the newer Iron Man suits have really stood out to me as much different you know, from each other. They tend to stick to the design, which is good. I mean, 'cause that's how they do it.
But
in the
this
comics.
actually changed it up a little bit
Like,
with like more gold.
You remember
man?
'90s Iron Man with the the cricket head?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that it's like I remember.
Try to forget that.
Like
Oh, come on.
when they updated it from that, and they're always gonna update the armor. But in the movies, I mean, it's kind of like they got a good thing, so they'll stick with it.
Okay. Seems like we like the
Which
armor.
I like it. I like it.
I like the
fine.
armor.
It's Iron
You,
Man.
you mentioned
It's a great film.
You mentioned that the
For
armor
different
winds up
reasons.
on Pepper. Let's talk about Pepper Potts in this movie because I think Pepper Potts has been fantastic in all these movies. Gwyneth Paltrow is amazing in Iron Man 1, 2, and 3, and Avengers 1, and she's in 2.
Mm-hmm.
And she's in Spider-Man.
Sure.
Like a brief little appearance. And I have a theory that she's going to die in Infinity War.
She might,
Ugh.
because there's so
I really
many
hope
theories
not.
out there that
would
she's not in
that would
suit.
wreck us.
Yeah.
That would wreck us. It would wreck Tony. Anyway, we're talking about Pepper in Iron Man 3. I think she's great in this. Now, they are together as a couple. We got a little brief moment of Tony and Pepper together as a couple in Avengers, but we really get it in Iron Man 3. I think it works great. The chemistry is still there. It still is fresh and vibrant. It's not like a Sam and Diane thing where it gets really boring.
Yeah.
Or what was Kirstie Alley's character? What was her? That even got more boring once Sam.
terrible.
Why are we talking about Cheers? But anyway, Pepper
Rebecca?
Potts. I think Rebecca. Yes.
Yeah,
It was Rebecca.
Yeah, Sam and Diane for the win. But after they got together, it's just anyway. What are we talking about? Cheers. Cheers is a great TV series. I swear to God. Pepper Potts is awesome in this movie. I love her in this movie. What do you think about Pepper in this movie? And she gets the armor. She actually gets powers
Yeah.
in this movie. She gets
she's a
infected with
transcender.
extremis.
Yeah, but she was also still a damsel too.
Okay, but whoa. Go explain.
Well, she does. She gets captured. They're holding her over Tony.
That's
to try
true.
And manipulate him and all that.
But who saves the day at the end, Brooks? Do you remember?
yeah, she gets
It was
redemption,
her.
But she does have to. She does have to play the damsel for a while at least.
But I think it's
Which
bold.
I think is fine in this case.
There's a moment of damselness. I get it because she does get captured and it becomes a plot point by Adrian, and I get all that. But I really think that the way that she saves the day at the end, without her, it would not have been saved, right? Without her getting that armor, I feel like they made some bold moves in here by showing Tony is broken and Pepper is strong at times. Even though Pepper did, I get what you're saying though. That's a good criticism of the film. Pepper always gets placed. It's Lois Lane syndrome. This person's supposed to be badass, but every single
Well,
story
it's like,
she's in danger.
How do you threaten or hurt a hero, like somebody who has all this power? And it's obvious for a villain would be like, go for the people he cares about.
Yes. And it's a trope, though, and maybe we need to think about how to get away with that. A lot of this movie takes place in Tennessee. Tennessee. I challenge you to a game of horseshoes and the kid. Let's talk real quick about the Tennessee stuff and the kid. Did you like it?
Yeah, love the kid.
I love the kid.
It was in Tennessee.
It's so funny.
It's awesome. I love how he just falls into this town, and it's just this kid finds him, and the kid basically is like joking with him, and he's been sad this whole time. This PTSD is like ruined him, and he doesn't know what he wants to do with being Iron Man. And on top of that, he's famous, so everybody knows who he is. This kid, like right off the bat, you're Tony Stark.
Yeah.
You know, and I like how their chemistry worked. I like what he does to help out Tony to get his suit up and running.
Yeah.
Again, and I love that whole camaraderie that they had. That was better than Rhodey.
You think?
A lot
Okay.
better.
Okay.
A lot better. I put the kid in it. I praise that kid.
What do you think about the kid?
Yeah.
I thought he was good. I thought if anything, they could have used a little more time with him, really. Like him and Tony bonding. Not like a whole lot, but, just a little more.
Just a little bit. Don't keep him in it.
But I thought it was really good. It was touching.
And funny.
Yeah.
This movie is funny, and Jon Favreau coming back as Happy, even though he didn't direct this film, I thought added to the humor of this movie.
Yeah.
He's funny, and he has his own dramatic moment where we think the villains have got him.
Yeah.
Right? So let's talk about that real quick. So you got Guy Pearce is Adrian Killian. He's really the real villain. He's made up this whole Mandarin story.
He's the Mandarin!
Yeah. He's got these two henchmen. One of them, the lady is actually Firebrand, and the dude is actually Blizzard. Mm-hmm. If you look at but they're just extremists infected, and so is he. And I actually think that there's a Fin Fang Foom reference here because he has a dragon tattoo and he breathes fire. Yeah. So I think it was kind of like their little way of tying that in. The only criticism I really have about this movie is that once you took away the threat of the real Mandarin, of what the Mandarin actually, the Ben Kingsley Mandarin, Guy Pearce just doesn't seem that threatening. He's not even as intriguing to me as Sam Rockwell's Justin Hammer in the previous film, and definitely not as exciting as Obadiah Stane. So really, the villains in these movies, it's Stane, Hammer, Killian. And Killian is the weakest. So it's got the weakest villain in all of the Iron Man movies, but I love the arc about Tony himself. That's what I think, though. The AIM stuff is neat. I'm glad they did the Beehive thing. I'm glad it's a think tank. Parts of it ring true to me, but overall, I do think the villainous plot is a little weak. What do you think, Brooks?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, how do you come up with a real Iron Man villain that could really...
The Mandarin?
That could really be a challenge for him at this point.
Mandarin?
After he's taking on alien armadas with the Avengers.
The Mandarin.
It's you have to do something a little more subtle. And,
yeah.
It's about something from his past coming back to haunt him, too.
Yes. And that's always what the third part's about.
He forgot, there's things, even further back that could come back to haunt him. Not just the things ahead of him, but he also has to watch out for the things behind him, too.
I like that. Killian and his henchmen in this movie.
You know he could have had an Infinity Stone, right? They could have just made an Infinity Stone for him.
I'm glad they didn't force an Infinity Stone in this movie. That's one of the things that bothers me about Dark World, and we'll get to that next week.
Yeah, we're getting there. At the same time, I'm trying to say that you've already introduced aliens into Avengers.
Yeah, and gods.
You introduced magic in Doctor Strange,
which is yet to come.
But you needed to have that. You just need to have that villain that Tony can't fight with science. Throughout these movies, he's fought someone that's fought science, and he knows how to defeat them from science means. And he kept it that way. It's not. He needed to face somebody in the third movie that has magical powers, something that had that he can't solve. And he's like, I don't understand this. The cartoon, there was a cartoon, the Disney one. It was an Avengers. It was the Avengers. The
Avengers Assemble.
No, before that one, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. In that one, Tony actually goes to Valhalla or goes to Asgard, and he has no powers. He can't use his suit. Anything.
He's stuck with the Dwarf King, and they had to forge him new armor.
They had to forge him new. Yeah. That episode. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wanted Tony out of his element, but I didn't want his element out of science and what it was. Okay. I want him to actually face something that he didn't know how to handle, other than aliens, and that's out there. So this third
Iron Man movie,
just
science,
other than just science fighting,
enhanced humans,
and that was my problem with the film.
Okay,
and if you're gonna have the Mandarin or introduce rings in the first one. It's like showing you a gun in the first act. By the second act or third, it's going off.
Yeah.
So you need to have that consistency. And I don't think the Iron Man franchise has been as consistent as say, Captain America.
Okay.
Involved. That was my problem.
I don't mind the Mandarin stuff, but I do feel like the villain overall was weak in this movie because just Killian did not have the charisma of Sam Rockwell, didn't have the intensity of who played Obadiah Stane? It was Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges.
Anyway, but I do feel like the third act of this movie, the finale, is one of the best in the MCU. I love all the armor showing up, doing their thing. This giant thing. It's funny because you got Rhodey who, you're not imprinted for any of these suits, and you got all this humor involved in the president, and it seems like it's high stakes. But the end with all the armor, Tony jumping from armor to armor, everything just getting crazy. I really do like that. I love the ending with Pepper there, kind of saving the day. What do you think about the ending of this film, Jelani?
Yeah. I like how it goes out. I mean, if you're going to be like, I'm the Mandarin, well, then somebody should punch you in the face.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
with 40 Iron Man armor.
Yeah. So it works out.
40 Iron Man armors?
I like
Iron Man armor.
Armor. Plural.
Is it Iron Man armor or Iron Man armors? Anyway. So you like it? You like the big? I think it's extravagant. I love even when he gets rid of them and they all like blow up like the fireworks.
How did he blow up his suits? Oh, I have too many suits to show you I love you.
Because it was a showing. It was proof that he let go of this trauma, of this stress. What do you think about the end of the film, the big finale? Did you like it?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, well. Oh man, I lost my train of thought.
All right, that's fine.
Never mind.
This dude is HAF. Anyway, Shane Black did this movie like most movies he does. It's a Christmas movie, and I like that. I love the colors. Think it's a good, solid kind of movie. Let's get to the rankings. Out of 5 possible ya digs, how many ya digs do you give it, Jelani? Iron Man 3 gets how many ya digs?
I'll give it 2 ya digs.
2 ya digs.
2 ya digs.
Well, that's better than Iron Man 2.
It's better than Iron Man 2.
You got a half of ya dig.
Yeah.
2 ya digs.
My favorite Iron Man movie.
That's weak, man.
No, my favorite Iron Man movie is Iron Man.
So you think Iron Man is the only good Iron Man movie?
It's the only good Iron Man movie.
Okay.
It's clean. It brings everything together. He grows as a person. And at the end, he's like, I'm Iron Man. And everyone freaks out.
Okay.
And I cheer. 2, incredibly weak. Didn't have the villain be a real villain. He was just there. And Hammer was great, but
Hammer wasn't in this movie.
The third one with Killian kind of kills it. That whole Mandarin plotline weakens the whole story. It makes me not like it as much as Iron Man. And at least it's not Iron Man 2.
Yeah, okay.
It's better than Iron Man 2.
Brooks, out of 5 possible ya digs, what do you rank Iron Man 3?
I give it 3.5.
3.5 ya digs from Brooks. Why is that 3.5? Just under Iron Man.
Yeah, I mean.
And what did you rank 2? You like 3? Did you? You did 2.5 or 2.5 or 3, something like that.
Look, it's not one of my favorite MCU movies, but it's up there.
Okay. You don't think it's a bad film? You think it's pretty good?
I think,
not as good as Iron Man or Avengers?
I haven't seen any of them that I would call a bad film.
Okay.
But this one's not as high as some of the other ones.
I am going to go with 3.5 ya digs as well. Same ranking, Brooks.
Oh, wow.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's the power dap right there. 3.5. I think it's a good, solid movie. I don't think it's anywhere near their worst. Don't think it's anywhere near the best, but it's a good, solid movie. I think it's better than Hulk.
Yeah.
I think it's better than Iron Man 2. But I don't think it's as good as Captain America. I don't think it's as good as Iron Man.
No.
I don't think it's as good as the Avengers. I don't think that Phase 2 is as good as Phase 1. And we'll be talking more about that in the next week. But overall, 2, 3.5. That's an average of 3 ya digs. What do you rank Iron Man 3? Let us know in the comments down below. How many out of 5 ya digs do you give it? We are digging to get involved with you down in the comments and talk to you about this movie. So that's what we think about it. Let us know what you think about it in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much. Like I said, we'll be back next week talking about more Phase 2 stuff. We'll be talking about Thor, The Dark World, starring Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman,
and one of my favorite doctors.
That Loki guy.
Christopher Eccleston. One of the best Doctor Who's out there. Perfectly. Seriously, we're going to be talking about that next week, so please do join us. Thank you for joining us this week here on Movie Monday at Pop Culture Philosophers. I've been Rockin Robbie.
I'm Jelani Bullard.
Brooks.
We are the Pop Culture Philosophers. Thanks for joining the Army. Check out popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts, blogs, and a whole lot more. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for rocking with us. You dig? Why are you going to start the video off saying, I really like this movie, and then be like 2.5? Fuck
That's
this
fine.
movie. 2 you digs. 2 you
I
digs.
said 2. I didn't say fuck this
You're
movie.
right.